Hollywood has always celebrated transformation. Actors became legends, performers became icons, and ordinary people were turned into carefully crafted public images. Yet behind many of those images was a painful contradiction. The same industry that rewarded confidence and individuality often demanded silence from those whose true identities did not fit society's expectations. For decades, countless people lived beneath the spotlight while carrying deeply personal truths that few around them could fully understand. Some feared losing careers they had worked a lifetime to build. Others worried about disappointing audiences, family members, or even themselves. Yet despite those fears, a remarkable group of individuals eventually chose authenticity over comfort. Their journeys were not defined by fame alone. They were stories of resilience, self-discovery, and the courage to live honestly in a world that was not always ready to listen. One of the earliest and most visible examples of that courage belongs to Chaz Bono, whose life unfolded in front of America long before he had the opportunity to define himself on his own terms. Growing up as the child of two entertainment legends, Chaz Bono spent much of his life in the public eye. Millions watched him grow up, yet very few understood the private struggle taking place behind the cameras. The image others saw never fully matched how he understood himself, creating a loneliness that followed him for years. As adulthood arrived, that conflict became harder to ignore. Chaz had already spoken openly about other parts of his identity, but something deeper remained unresolved. The expectations attached to his famous family name only added pressure. For years, he wrestled with questions that many people never have to answer under public scrutiny. Then came a turning point. Rather than continue living according to expectations created by others, he chose authenticity. In the late 2000s, Chaz publicly shared his transition journey. The decision brought intense media attention, criticism from some observers, and endless curiosity from strangers. Yet it also brought something he had searched for throughout much of his life: the freedom to be honest about who he was. In the years that followed, Chaz became an important public voice for understanding and acceptance. By sharing his experiences, he helped many Americans learn more about transgender lives through a personal and human story. His journey showed that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. While Chaz found greater peace through authenticity, another trailblazer was challenging the fashion world's traditional ideas about gender and beauty. Before becoming one of the most influential transgender models in modern fashion, Andrea Pejic built a career that challenged traditional ideas about appearance and identity. Fashion designers were fascinated by her striking look, and she quickly gained international attention. Yet beneath the success was a personal reality that few people fully understood. The world celebrated her uniqueness while she continued searching for a sense of completeness within herself. As her profile grew, so did the pressure to define herself according to expectations created by others. Journalists, photographers, and fans often focused on labels rather than the person behind them. Andrea knew that living authentically would require difficult decisions and public scrutiny. For years, she carefully navigated an industry obsessed with image. Then, in 2014, she publicly shared her transition journey. The announcement attracted worldwide attention, but it also allowed her to step into a life that felt honest and sustainable. Rather than hiding behind uncertainty, she embraced her authentic self, even knowing that some opportunities might disappear. What emerged was a stronger sense of confidence and inner peace than any fashion success alone could provide. Andrea's journey helped expand conversations about gender, beauty, and representation throughout the fashion industry. Her visibility opened doors for others who had rarely seen themselves reflected in major media. More importantly, she demonstrated that authenticity and success do not have to exist in opposition. While Andrea was reshaping perceptions in the fashion world, another public figure was carrying a deeply personal secret, despite being known across America as an Olympic hero. Before the world knew her as Caitlyn Jenner, she was celebrated as Olympic champion Bruce Jenner. Her gold medal victory in the decathlon at the 1976 Summer Olympics made her one of the most recognized athletes in America. To the public, she appeared confident and successful. Yet behind that image was a deeply personal struggle that remained hidden for many years. As her fame grew, so did the challenge of living with a private truth. Caitlyn later explained that she had long wrestled with questions about her identity while trying to meet the expectations attached to her public life. The fear of disappointing others and disrupting her family weighed heavily on her. For decades, she carried that burden in silence, uncertain how the world would respond. Eventually, she reached a point where authenticity became more important than comfort. In 2015, Caitlyn publicly came out as a transgender woman, beginning a new chapter built on honesty rather than secrecy. Her decision sparked conversations far beyond Hollywood and sports. Millions of people were introduced to transgender experiences through a story they could recognize on a human level. While opinions often differed, Caitlyn's willingness to live openly helped increase public awareness and understanding. Her journey demonstrated that even after a lifetime of achievement, finding peace within oneself can be the greatest victory of all. While Caitlyn shared her truth with the world, Laverne Cox was using television to help others feel seen and respected. Laverne Cox grew up knowing that the world often struggled to understand people who were different. Long before she became a celebrated actress, she faced isolation, bullying, and uncertainty about her future. The entertainment industry offered opportunities, but it also reflected many of the same barriers found in society. For years, she pursued her dreams while searching for a place where she could be fully accepted as herself. Building a career in Hollywood was not easy. Transgender performers were rarely given meaningful roles, and positive representation was limited. Despite those obstacles, Laverne refused to let fear define her path. She continued studying, performing, and developing her craft. Her breakthrough came when she portrayed Sophia Bursay in the hit series Orange is the New Black. The role introduced millions of viewers to a transgender character with depth, dignity, and humanity. As her visibility increased, Laverne used her platform to discuss identity, equality, and respect, helping audiences understand experiences that had often been overlooked. Her success reached beyond acting. In 2014, she became the first openly transgender person nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award in an acting category. More importantly, she became a symbol of possibility for countless people who rarely saw themselves represented in mainstream media. Laverne's journey proved that visibility can change hearts and minds. While she was transforming television through representation and advocacy, Fallon Fox was stepping into one of the most physically demanding and controversial arenas in professional sports. Fallon Fox entered this world of mixed martial arts carrying more than the pressure faced by most athletes. Long before the public knew her story, she had spent years struggling with questions about identity and belonging. Like many transgender people, she faced the difficult challenge of reconciling her inner reality with the expectations placed upon her by society. Even after finding her authentic self, she knew that living openly could bring intense scrutiny. That scrutiny arrived in full force when Fallon publicly disclosed that she was a transgender woman in 2013. Almost immediately, her story became the center of a national debate. Discussions about fairness, inclusion, and athletic competition spread across sports media and beyond. While many focused on controversy, Fallon continued to emphasize her right to live honestly and pursue the sport she loved. The attention was relentless. Every fight seemed to carry the weight of a larger cultural conversation. Yet she continued competing, refusing to let public criticism erase her achievements or her identity. Her willingness to stand in the spotlight required a level of resilience that extended far beyond the cage. Although opinions about transgender participation in sports remain divided, Fallon helped bring important questions into public discussion. Her story highlighted the human reality behind headlines and debates. By continuing forward despite criticism, she demonstrated determination in the face of extraordinary pressure. While Fallon was navigating the demanding world of professional athletics, a young girl named Jazz Jennings was showing America what confidence and self-understanding could look like at an early age. Unlike many people who spend decades struggling to explain who they are, Jazz Jennings expressed her identity at a remarkably young age. As a child, she confidently told her family that she was a girl. While that clarity was powerful, growing up in the public eye brought challenges that few children could imagine. Every milestone of her life unfolded under attention from television cameras, journalists, and curious audiences. Jazz first gained national recognition through television interviews that introduced Americans to the experiences of transgender youth. Supported by her family, she became one of the most visible young transgender voices in the country. Yet visibility did not eliminate difficulties. Like many teenagers, she faced questions about acceptance, friendships, and self-confidence. The difference was that much of her journey happened in front of millions of viewers. Through the reality series I Am Jazz, audiences witnessed both joyful moments and personal struggles. Rather than hide from those challenges, she chose openness, helping people understand that transgender youth experience many of the same hopes, fears, and dreams as everyone else. As she matured, Jazz continued advocating for understanding and respect. Her story helped many families learn about gender identity through a perspective rooted in compassion and honesty. More importantly, she demonstrated that authenticity can begin at any age when people are given support and acceptance. While Jazz was helping a new generation see the value of living truthfully, Gina Rosero was preparing to share a powerful story that would inspire audiences around the world. Gina Rosero built a successful career in the modeling industry while carrying a personal history that few people around her knew. Born in the Philippines, she eventually moved to the United States and found opportunities in fashion and media. To many observers, she appeared to be living the dream. Yet, like many transgender individuals, she understood the emotional burden that can come from feeling unable to share every part of one's story. As her career advanced, Gina faced a difficult question. Should she continue protecting a deeply personal truth, or use her platform to speak openly about her experiences? The answer arrived in 2014 during a TED Talk that would change her public life forever. Standing before an international audience, she revealed that she was a transgender woman. It was a moment of vulnerability, honesty, and courage, one that resonated with people around the world. By sharing her journey, she transformed a private story into an opportunity for education and understanding. The decision was not simply about visibility. It was about helping others recognize the dignity and humanity of transgender lives. Gina later founded Gender Proud, an organization dedicated to advancing awareness and equality. Through advocacy, storytelling, and public engagement, she continued encouraging people to embrace authenticity rather than fear. Her journey reminds us that courage often begins with telling the truth about ourselves. And when enough people find that courage, entire communities can move closer to understanding, respect, and acceptance. The stories we've explored today remind us that the most meaningful transformation is rarely physical. True transformation happens when a person finds the courage to stop hiding and begins living as their authentic self. Chaz Bono, Andrea Pehich, Caitlyn Jenner, Laverne Cox, Fallon Fox, Jazz Jennings, and Gina Rosero all followed different paths, yet each faced the same challenge: choosing honesty over fear. Their journeys reveal something universal about the human experience. Every generation has faced pressure to conform, to remain silent, or to become the person others expect. But lasting peace often comes from embracing who we truly are, even when the road is difficult. For many people, these stories are not simply about gender identity. They are stories about resilience, dignity, and the freedom that comes with self-acceptance. Which person's courage inspired you the most? and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through Hollywood history and human perseverance, please like, subscribe, and join us again on Hollywood Trainor for more remarkable stories from the people behind the spotlight.